Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something clicked.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
All right. So, do you have any parts that you know of that you'd like to work with, get to know better, change your relationship with? Or anything that's up for you?
Yeah, I think it's the thinking part, as I'll call it here, is something I want to look at, but I suspect that it's more than one part. But you got to start somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's call it the thinking part for now.
Okay. And so sometimes feels like it's too extreme or getting in your way or keeping you from accessing other parts.
It feels as though it is constantly present and it's going 100 miles an hour all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's no, it's rare that I'm able to drop into a different space.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it happens, but
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And how do you notice it?
Feels like it spends a lot of time. So it feels like it's spending a lot of time being very active, keeping me occupied. Yeah. How do I notice it?
In or around your body, yeah.
In my head.
Mm-hmm.
It's in my head.
Yeah. Any other sensations, qualities about it that you notice?
Tightness in my face and jaw, my eyes, mouth, jaw. I guess I could say tightness in my brain. I was going to say scalp, but it's more like in my brain.
Okay. All right.
Like a lot of holding.
Holding?
Like tight.
Okay. And right now, as you notice it there, how do you feel towards it?
I want it to go away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want it to stop.
Yeah. Should we hear more from that part that wants it to stop? Why does it want it to stop?
Because it's exhausting. It's relentless. It's tiring. There's no let up. There's no space. There's no spaciousness or space to breathe, to be, to there's little opportunity to be. Okay, so there's no opportunity to spend any time dwelling in the heart.
Dwelling in the heart?
And like if I'm in nature, which I am a fair bit, I'm not really there. So the part that wants it to stop wants to spend time in spaciousness in my heart and in the moment.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, see if you can ask that part for a little space.
Yeah, it's willing. It's like whatever it takes.
Yeah, it's all
I'll
about
do it.
space, huh? Okay, great. Great. Yeah. And as it gives you space now, how do you feel towards that thinking part?
Actually, there was a little glimmer of compassion. Like there was just a moment of, oh, actually, you're working really hard, and I can see that might not be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. See if you can just lean into that compassion and ask any other parts that might be trying to blend or interfere with that. Just ask them to step back. And let the thinking part know that you're feeling compassionate towards it.
It sort of doesn't have any interest in what I feel about it.
It doesn't have any interest? That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. There's a lot of fear. There's a big fear part coming up.
Yeah. And what's that about?
I think the fear, there's a scared of the thinking part, and there's a scared of what happens if the thinking part isn't there. Don't know if that makes any sense.
Does it make sense to you?
Yes.
Great. Let the scared part know that.
Okay.
And let it know that we're not going to be evicting or firing any of your parts. So it'll be there. And we're just exploring. We're just trying to get to know it.
Okay, there's a bit more room there.
Awesome. Okay. So if you just let the thinking part know that you're curious about it, you'd like to get to know it, and ask it what it wants you to know about itself.
It has a voice that's quite similar to what I have identified as a critic part.
Mm-hmm.
So it's saying, along the lines, without me, this would just, without me running the show, this would be a shit show. This would be a total fucking disaster.
Yeah.
I've told you this before. I don't know why I have to keep saying the same shit. Here I am doing the work for everyone, doing the work for you all, carrying it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why am I repeating myself? Just really, it's intolerant. It's impatient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It feels a heavy burden of duty.
Yeah. Sounds like it. Just let it know that you see that. Do you see how heavy of a burden it's taking on? And you could ask more about its concerns specifically, you know, of what would happen if it didn't do that, if it didn't work so hard. What would happen? What is it afraid of?
Nothing would get done.
Mm-hmm.
None of the practical day-to-day stuff that needs to be done would get done. And it's saying even then, you know, it's a joke the way that things are done. But the only reason anything is done is because it is around.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a little. I'm finding it quite difficult to access self in talking to this thinking part. There's other parts that are there, and that's okay. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah,
that's what's happening.
Yeah. What are some of those other parts saying?
Well, there's a part that's sort of trying to like frantically. It's like the visual is of you know, like a dog or something small, like something really burrowing, like really fast underneath the ground of the thinking part to make the thinking part comfortable, or I can't explain it more than that. There's something about like there's a franticness trying to make the thinking part okay all the time. Like this, I don't know. It makes a bit of sense to me. It's visual.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other parts that are coming up?
There's a scared of getting it wrong, you know, scared of that I'm doing this wrong with you here now. That I'm.
Yeah. I have that too.
Yeah, they're not good enough part. You know, I mean, they're all having a little field day here.
Sure.
So I'm just gonna take a breath.
Yeah. It's great that you're noticing them. And if any of them do, you know, you can always shift your focus to work with any of them if it feels right for you.
Just give me a sec.
Mm-hmm.
The thinking part has a sort of resigned / pissed off response. It's like, oh yeah, of course, these other parts get to get more attention than me. It wants the attention.
Yeah. Okay.
It wants to have the space to have me be present with it.
Yeah. All right. Does that feel right for you?
Yeah.
Okay. And those other parts, you're able to ask them to step back a little?
Yeah, I think so. Let's give it a go. Let's see.
We were learning about what this thinking part is afraid would happen. And just learning more about that, its concerns.
So it softened a little bit. It recognizes that it is being listened to. And what is it afraid of?
Yeah, and it did already answer
what is
us.
it afraid?
And
Yeah,
I just want to acknowledge. I want to acknowledge it because I know that it has this kind of sense of I've told you 1,000 times, so I don't want to add to that. But I really am curious about kind of what it means when it says nothing would get done. Like, what really that looks like, and maybe you already have that answer, and this is just me talking. So,
it when it was speaking before, it felt sort of angry, and now that it knows that I'm listening, and it softened a bit, the voice has changed, like the tone, the pitch,
yeah.
It's like this person, Justine. She, if it wasn't always on top and running the show, she would just be on the floor in a heap, non-functioning.
Okay. How long has it been doing that job?
The thing that came up was forever. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah,
I don't know how to tell if that's true. Like, I hear you ask that question a lot, and I know that that's a significant question in IFS, but I don't know how to get the true answer.
I mean, I think forever
is just let it come.
I think forever is a reasonable answer if this part feels like it's been doing it forever.
Yeah, okay. I don't have an age. It feels very like it's been around.
Yeah.
You know, I can attach a story to why that might be the case, but so let's just go with forever.
Sure. Yeah, and if you do, another way to ask it, if you were looking for more specific, would be something like, was there a specific time? Is there a specific age when this part really felt like it had to step up?
So what happens when you ask that question is there's a part, I don't know if it's the thinking part, but there's a part that is trying to get the right answer, right? It's like, I don't trust the intuition. I have to keep throwing numbers. Yeah.
Right.
So it's going 7, 5, 3, 1, so I've got no idea. I have no idea. Yeah.
Fair enough. And maybe it's entirely possible that it is 7, 5, and 3, and 1, right? It's
right.
possible that this part has been around for a long time and it's regularly felt the need to jump up and do its job. And so we don't need a specific answer to that question. How does it like doing its job?
It feels like a really heavy burden.
Yeah.
It doesn't like doing it. It just feels that it has no choice.
And does that image of you being a heap on the floor, being non-functioning, is there any truth to that? Is there any kind of part of you that has been there or has felt that way?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like
it's very familiar.
Yeah, it's very familiar. Okay. So it's a valid concern, a real problem that this part's helping you with?
I don't think it's valid anymore.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
It hasn't, but it certainly, I recognize that state.
Okay. Yeah. So you can just let it know that. And see if you can show it some appreciation for its intention.
It was listening to me saying those things, but there was a kind of weird thing happening at the same time, which was that she was kind of shrinking as I was talking,
Mm-hmm.
like a person going in reverse in age.
Okay. What else do you notice about her?
So I think that that shrinking was possibly, I don't know. I think that was sort of another part.
Okay.
She's protecting. So what I notice about her is that there's like layers, like, you know, when you dust something and you see what's underneath.
Mm-hmm.
And she has this grace, and she's kind of statuesque, and she has this real grace and presence and fine mind. She has a lot of strengths and a lot to offer. I can see that.
And do you have a clearer sense now of, is this the thinking part, or is this a part it protects, or another part?
So the part I'm talking about, the statuesque grace, that's the thinking part.
Mm-hmm.
When it's not, so she's, the part that shrunk, that was the part that she protected, isn't who I'm talking about now.
Okay.
Yeah. She sees me and she feels me listening and observing her and giving her the space. She's really grateful to have the attention.
Yeah. What else does she want you to know now that she has your attention?
So I keep having this response, which is not trusting what's being said.
Mm-hmm.
So she says something like, I see you. There's a sense of us being equals. I don't know. And like allies.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's this other thing that comes in that's like, I suppose it's the skeptical part, and I've heard that others talk about this.
Sure.
It's just like, whatever you're saying is bullshit. you can't trust what's happening.
Right.
I'm wondering if that's still the thinking part. How do you know? This is the thing. I just feel like,
I think you're doing great.
how can you, there's a part that wants to get on top of it all and get it all and have it all pieced out, understand all the parts,
Right.
know all the parts, and is completely overwhelmed by that at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, how can you do this? How can I really do this?
One part at a time.
One part at a time. Always the same answer.
And, you know, and it's also not that simple sometimes. Sometimes it's you're trying to work with one part at a time and you're getting 5.
Right.
And, you know,
exactly.
That's just part of the process.
Yeah.
You know,
so
you were just seeing this part in a statuesque way with a fine mind. Is that a new experience that you've had with that part?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
But am I seeing self? But does self see, like that could be self. Doesn't feel like it. So I'm just going to backtrack.
I would suggest that it's not. If you're seeing that, seeing that statuesque part with a fine mind, you're seeing that part. And to answer a part, yes. And to answer your question, from my understanding and my experience, no, self doesn't see self.
Well, I definitely had a sense of this part, and she was beautiful, and I can see that she has a lot to offer.
Yeah. And I don't know how much you want to address the skeptical part, but what you're seeing is real. It's clear. It's something that you could go in and see again tomorrow, and it's something that's been in there for a long time. So it's a part of you. And you have this real way of really communicating with it, even if it's not something that we're going to be able to observe and measure from outside.
She's agreeing with you.
Yay. But I hugely appreciate skeptical parts. Mine's enormous and wouldn't want to be around without them.
That's right.
Right. You could ask this thinking part if it knows anything about that part you saw that was shrinking.
Well, she says that's an exile.
Yeah. And does she work to protect that exile?
All the time.
Mm-hmm. And what's the pain there? What's the burden that exile carries? You don't have to share it with me.
Abandonment.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Aloneness.
Mm-hmm.
Loneliness.
Yeah. So what would the thinking part rather be doing if it didn't have to work so hard to protect you from that?
Guiding me
Mm-hmm.
with her grace and wisdom. Yeah.
does that, how different does that feel from her job, normally?
It feels much less hectic. It feels much calmer. Less stressful for both of us.
Yeah. And I know you said earlier about how she was seeing you kind of like an equal. So you'd have more of like a partnership.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sounds nice.
It feels like we might have fun together.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds great. You could ask this part how old she thinks you are.
Well, her answer is about the exile rather than me. So she sees me now here, but the exile is free,
Yeah.
in utero.
Did you say in utero?
Yes.
Okay. Did you also say 3?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard 3. Okay.
Sorry, I said
Got it.
pre-birth, pre,
Interesting.
Side. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know how much that's the story that I have attached to my story, but that's what it feels like.
If that's what the part is reporting to you, then it's the truth that part has. That's all we can go by.
That's what it feels right. Exactly right. That's it. That's all we can go by.
Mm-hmm. And I'm curious also if it has an answer for how old it thinks you are.
Well, she knows that I'm 50.
Uh-huh. Okay. And how does she feel about... Go ahead.
I don't know if that makes sense, is what I was going to say, but that just feels like she's super smart,
Yeah.
And so she knows that the self. So when you ask how old do you think she is, she's referring to self. Yeah. And then when she's up, and the pre-birth is the exile.
That all she kind makes sense to
understands me. Right. Okay. So she understands IFS.
She's got a very fine mind, and she knows how to use a calendar, right?
Right.
Yeah. And that's great. It's great. How does she feel about the idea of you going to that part to help it out, that exile part? She trusts you to do that?
She trusts me, and she trusts the process.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true? Listen, it's hard to, how do I know what's true? Keep coming back to this.
So when it comes to trust, right? Like if I asked you, do you trust your sister? Is there a true answer? This is really a feeling question.
Yes, that's right. But is there a part which is like trying to just manage the whole thing, all of this, and doing the right thing and saying the right thing? And
yeah,
is it? I don't know. So I just have to go with it, right? Just trust.
Yeah, and it's tough too
myself.
Because I'm asking you a yes/no question, right? So it's kind of that's a setup. Like that's not a very good question in a way, because the answer is not necessarily binary. So how much does she trust you? What is her trust like for you? To what degree? What does it feel like?
She has a real willingness to share the burden of protecting the exile.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a job that she's had for so long that it's precious. Yeah. It's very delicate work that needs great care.
Yeah.
So she's willing to trust as long as I don't fuck it up.
Yeah. 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 And I'm sure there's a lot that you could learn from her about the delicacy of that work. If she's had so much contact with this exile, she might be a useful guide in deciding how you go forward.
Yeah, she has no intention of letting me do it on my own.
Mm-hmm. And what would she like from you in general going forward? Whether it's in your relationship to her, other parts, anything.
She'd like me to spend some time with her.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to know her and getting to understand who she really is and what she has to offer. And she'd like to know that she can trust me.
Yeah.
To do any more work.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, how does that feel to you? That idea of spending more time with her? Sorry, my son just interrupted me, so just give me a sec. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, could you ask the question again?
So this part said she wanted to spend more time with you. And I was asking how that feels to you. Is that something that you're up for? You're looking forward to?
Excited. Yeah.
Great. Great.
It feels really exciting to have found.
Yeah. It is exciting. Is there more you want to ask her about the specifics of that, or talk to me about the how to arrange that or anything like that? Or do you feel?
Well, yeah, I guess that is a good question because, I've done mapping parts and different things over the past few months, and it's then now what, so what's a good way to check in? What's a good practice for? Yeah.
Well, I have a list of 100, so I would suggest first asking
what's
that
at the
part.
Top of the list?
ask the part what's at the top of her list. How she wants you to check in with her.
She's so surprised that I'm asking her opinion. She says it's very simple, just every day, ask how I am.
Yeah, that's at the top of my list too. Yeah.
But she really would appreciate it if it was every day.
Yeah. That's your answer.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions for me or any other parts that have any concerns you'd like to address?
No, not right now.
Okay. Nice meeting you.
You too.
I hope to hear from you again. Let me know how it goes.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd love to. I'd love to do this again if it fits.
Great. Yeah. I'll definitely, if there's not time available, we'll find time.
Thank you,
Especially being
James.
on the other side of the world. Yes. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows? That might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube, and they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.